Hey there, good morning. It's Donna Doyon. As promised, I'm here to talk about a mindful approach to weight loss. So, if you're watching this in the replay, I really appreciate you coming by and taking a few minutes with me. I'm not quite sure how long this will last, and I make no promises about staying on track with what I wanted to talk about today, which is how our habits are created and how they help or hinder our efforts towards losing some weight. So, I see someone joined me. Tina is here and Carly is here. Thank you for joining me today. My computer screen is over this way, so if I look away over there, I'm just checking to see if there are any comments. But I'm going to try to keep eye contact with you because I want you to know that this is really important. But I will ask, can you hear me? Would one of you let me know if you can hear me to make sure my audio is okay? I'll wait and see if I see something, but I think everything should be good. It would not be the first time that I did a Facebook Live and had my audio turned off. So we'll see what happens. And I didn't get my binder to the place that I wanted to. Okay, I'll find it. So basically, let's see, that's still not. Oh, right here. Okay, so today I want to talk about when we live our lives on autopilot, especially as it relates to our food and our eating choices. And when I say autopilot, what I mean is when we just get into this pattern of living where everything is the same, we can count on what we're doing, where we're going to be, how we're going to do something, because it's familiar. Now, there are three things that the brain wants. The brain wants to experience pleasure. Who doesn't want to feel good, right? Our brains know this. And our brains also want to avoid pain and discomfort. Who doesn't want to avoid pain and discomfort, right? And then the third thing which ties into our habits is that our brains want to be efficient. Now, when I teach this program live, it's funny because that always gets a laugh out of people because they say, I am so inefficient. My brain definitely is not efficient. Here's the thing. Our brains are amazing inventions. Whichever higher power came up with this, if we think computers are amazing, whoever invented our brains is even more so. Think about it. Our brains control our breathing. They control our blood making oxygen, our lungs taking in the oxygen. I'm not a biologist, body scientist, anatomy, physiology, not my strengths. But you think of what our bodies do. And our bodies are controlling the amount of sugar we have. It's dispensing the food. It's breaking down food that we eat. There's all of these chemicals and hormones that are wreaking havoc on teenagers and middle-aged people. And it's just amazing. And our brain controls all of that. And then there's this little piece of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is kind of like around here, which is our conscious thought. And so we think that we're in control, but the reality is our brains want to be efficient. They give us this little bit of space in the front, so we think that we know what we're doing, but then the back of the brain and below and into the back, that's controlling everything else to keep us alive. Because let's face it, without our brains, we can't exist. Yes, we have modern technology that can keep someone's body alive, but is there really anything there? But it's our brains that control all of that. Our brains, they're just amazing. And they want to be efficient because they have so much going on. If you think you have a lot going on in your life, just think about what your brain's doing because, well, most of us, when we're walking along, we're not actively thinking about walking. We just go by habit. We've learned, we've made decisions of how we're going to live and how we're going to act and what we're going to do. And we've told our brain that's what we choose. And then we fall into that pattern, autopilot. And it's great in so many ways. Our brain is helping us so often. Every morning when you get up, You don't have to think about, oh my gosh, okay, my eyes are open. What do I do now? Oh, I need to roll over and get out of bed. Oh, I need to put my feet on the floor. I need to stand up. Oh, I need to put my slippers on or my clothes on. Oh, I need to go into the bathroom to do bathroom things. And I need to brush my teeth. Oh, how do I brush my teeth? Oh, I have to pick my toothbrush out of the holder. Oh, I have to identify which toothbrush is my toothbrush. Do you get the idea? We don't even think about these things. Our non-conscious is taking care of that. And it works well. In a lot of ways, we are healthier for the habits that our brains give us. But sometimes we're not so healthy because we have trained our brains to act in ways that are not the healthiest choices for us. And this is kind of how it happens. So you're in a situation around food. Let's say you're at the workplace and someone brings in donuts or muffins in the morning. You've already eaten breakfast at home. You arrive at work, 9 o'clock, someone says, hey, there are donuts, muffins in the break room. Come join us. And you're thinking, well, I'm really not even hungry, but it's a social event. It doesn't happen very often. Okay, so I'll go. And you have a donut or a muffin. And your brain makes note of this because your brain wants to be efficient. And the muffin or the donut tastes good, so your brain is saying, pleasure. So 2 out of 3 things your brain wants has just received with this donut muffin offering. Okay, one time, not a big deal. But then 2 days later, someone else brings in a treat because it just seemed like such a good idea. And someone comes to your desk and says, hey, we're having donuts and muffins in the break room again. You want to join us? You say, well, I'm really not hungry. I've got some work to do. And someone says, oh, come on. You say, okay, I'll go join you. You go into the break room, you have another donut or muffin, and your brain pays attention. And your brain says, oh, she made the decision to have the donut or the muffin again. 2 things happen. Experience pleasure, that sugar rush, that enjoyment of being with other people, the social interaction, feeling like you belong. And the brain says, okay, duly noted. Twice you've made this decision. A few days later, someone brings in donuts and muffins into the break room. And now you're at your desk and someone comes to tell you and you're already waiting for them. As soon as you hear someone coming and you perk up and you say, let's go. And your brain says, duly noted. She really wants those donuts and the muffins at 9 o'clock in the break room. After a few times, your brain, who wants to be efficient, says, well, you know what? We can make this more efficient. Someone doesn't have to come get us. We will just go in there with the expectation that at 9 o'clock there's donuts or muffins in the break room. And that's what you start to do. So you don't even think about it anymore. Your brain has worked hoping or trying to make things better for you, easier, more efficient, and you're automatically going into the break room at 9 o'clock for a donut or a muffin. And that's how our brains create any habit that we develop, because there is some type of reward. When you went in the first time, the reward was the sugar rush from the treat, the social interaction, perhaps a little bit of pleasure from getting away from your desk for a few minutes that you wouldn't have. And your brain sees this as, that's the choice Donna made. Okay, I can help her be more efficient with this. Every day I'm going into the break room, not even paying attention to it, and I'm eating something that I don't need to eat, that I'm not even really enjoying anymore. I'm not thinking about it anymore. I'm just on autopilot, and I'm eating, how many calories are in a donut? 200, 250. Muffins can be around 400 calories for a muffin. And that's what gets us into trouble. So, how do you deal with that? So again, this is a mindful approach to weight loss. So perhaps you can guess that the first thing you want to do is start becoming aware of when you're eating. Is there a similar situation? Perhaps you're not a 9 o'clock donut muffin person, but perhaps as soon as you get home from work, you go straight to the refrigerator or the cabinets because you're really hungry at this point and you say, oh, I don't want to wait another hour for lunch, to make dinner. And so you go munch on something. We all have our times, or most of us have our times during the day when we just reach for food without stopping to ask the question, am I hungry? So the one message I would like to give to you today, oh, there'll probably be more than one, who am I kidding? But the first message, if you would like to lose some weight, and I'm not talking about losing weight just to lose weight. From my perspective and what I'm teaching in a mindful approach to weight loss classes, there's got to be a reason. And it's not because your doctor told you to, because your kids are worried about your health, because you want to look good in a dress for a class reunion or a wedding. Those are reasons, yes. But what I invite you to do is dig a little deeper and ask yourself, what am I not doing, or what am I no longer doing because of my weight or because of how I feel about my weight? When you can come into that realization and know that you're moving towards something that you really enjoy doing, your brain will work with you and will be more receptive to some of the small changes that I recommend people make. Because the last thing we want to do is freak our brains out, okay? Our brains want three things: experience pleasure, avoid pain and discomfort, and to be efficient. When we start making drastic changes all at once, our brains are going, this is so inefficient. I can't cope. I can't function. This is chaotic. And our brains will do anything they can to say, okay, calm down here. Have a donut. Because when you have a donut, you calm down, you feel good, and then I can get back to my job of focusing on making sure that you stay breathing, that your blood is pumping, that your body is, digestive tract is breaking down your food properly in a way that will send the nutrients out to the cells in your body. And I'm helping your hair to grow and, all of these things. So your brain kind of freaks out when we try to make hugely drastic changes in our lives. And as we're all sitting, home and away from other people, the social distancing things, our brains are kind of panicked right now because this is so inefficient. It's not the way things are done. One piece of advice: be calm, be gentle with yourself, show compassion to yourself and the people in your home. This too shall pass. And you just have this opportunity to try something a little different without allowing yourself to feel overwhelmed by it. Okay, I think I need to take a breath, maybe a drink of water. I feel like I've got nerves going on here, kind of talking nonstop. But I love this stuff. It is so amazing once you start to realize that sometimes by trying to focus on just the food we're eating, hold on one sec. So if we try to focus just on, splashed, sorry. When we try to focus on restrictive food plans and cutting out too many calories a day at a time, and we start to really change too many aspects of our lives, our brains start to freak out because the front part of our brain that we have control over, our conscious thought, this is such a small aspect. You've probably heard the number 10 to 15% of our brain is what we actually use. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think when they give that number, it's like our conscious thinking part. The non-conscious part, it's doing a lot of other stuff. So, we lost my train of thought. So anyway, when we allow ourselves to start making small changes. So for instance, we'll go back to that 9 a.m. meeting, okay? Donuts and muffins, we're used to it. Our brains have accepted into its version of the story around that food. Several things that impact who we are as an individual and where we feel our place is in the world. And I'm not going to geek out on you for this right now, okay? But I did just start today. I debuted my new podcast that's called A Mindful Approach to Weight Loss. And I'll try to remember to put a link in the notes afterwards. Hi, everybody. More people joining. Thank you. So I started a new podcast that will be released every week on Thursdays, starting a week from Thursday. Today I released 3 episodes, so if you're interested, you can listen to that, and it's going to be all about this stuff. But the thing to remember is our brains want us to be healthy and happy. They want us to experience pleasure. And when we're on these restrictive diets and we're making drastic changes in our lives that make us feel uncomfortable, our brains are going to come to us and say, have a donut, because that makes you feel happy. And our brains want us to feel happy. So how we start to change this is by being mindful. When we have these opportunities that we've identified through our day where we're eating on autopilot, we're not even enjoying the food, we're not hungry, but we're consuming hundreds of calories that our bodies don't need in a way that's not really giving us any joy. It's not pleasurable, it's just there. So when you become mindful, every time you reach for food, just pause. Just pause and ask yourself, am I hungry? And if you're not, and you are so inclined, because this is easier said than done, and I get that. Excuse me. If you're not hungry and you can walk away, I want you to pat yourself on the back and say, brain, thank you. Brain, thank you for supporting me as I walked away from that food, because that 2 or 3 or 400 calorie snack I really didn't need. So thank you for supporting me as I walked away. And your brain in that moment is going to say, oh, something a little different. But she feels good, so this is a good thing. This is not a warning, warning, Will Robinson, danger, danger. Your brain is going to make a little check mark and say, okay, she walked away from that food. I'll remember that. Every time you approach food that's in your cabinet, in your refrigerator, in the break room at work, free food can be so damaging to our relationship with food. We think if it's free, we might as well have it. It's not free. We may not have to pay cash currency for it, but we do pay for it. That'll be in another podcast episode. So many things I want to share, so many things. Because this stuff is just so great, okay? Remember, focus on pleasure, okay? The pleasure is not in the food. Yes, it may taste good, but this is where I was talking about the need to find something that you want to do or something that you're no longer doing because of your weight. And you start moving towards that pleasurable activity. And I really strongly recommend you start doing it at whatever capacity or level you can right now. I'm a hiker. And it feels really strange saying that still, because 15 years ago, I was pretty much a slug. And I don't know. I'll have to post some of my before pictures. At one point, I weighed about 198 pounds. That was the heaviest that I saw on the scale. Now I'm right around 140 pounds. It's a healthy weight. I feel good. I can do everything that I want to do. But when I started hiking, I weighed around 180 pounds, 183 pounds before my significant whatever and I, Earl, we were hiking the 100-mile wilderness of the Appalachian Trail. And I was at a weight where our weekend hikes, I really loved them, but I also wasn't blind to the discomfort I felt after a long hike, especially when we were descending, the extra poundage and the pressure on my knees. My knees ached, but I always had a week to recover between hikes, so it didn't really bother me. As we were preparing well, as I was started mentally preparing for this 14-day adventure out in the woods of hiking 10 to 15 miles every single day, my brain started freaking out and started saying, there's no way, you won't survive. You're going to have to call for rescue. You're going to be in so much physical pain. What's our brain want? It wants to avoid pain and discomfort. My brain allowed me and supported me in losing the weight because I had this vision, this dream, this plan, something we were going to do, and my brain helped me to do it. I know that went off on a tangent there. So, one thing that it did for me was that when I started eating food, I started thinking, is this going to help me to lose weight, or is this going to hurt me and keep me at the weight I'm at, which was going to make hiking difficult for 14 days, or do I want to take more weight off? So I got the weight off. About 6 months after the hike, 8 months, I started gaining the weight back, and I couldn't really figure out why. And that's when it kind of dawned on me that it wasn't just, I no longer had that thing that I was no longer able to do, because I was hiking more comfortably, but I was getting to that point where it was going to go badly again if I kept gaining the weight. This past, would have been April, May time, almost a year ago, I was back up around 160 pounds, and I started thinking, what is going on? I know what to do. We know what to do. That's why I don't need to talk to you about food plans and nutrients. We know, we have the information, the knowledge. What we don't have are the habits to support it. Because, I think I'm taking the long way around, but I think I'm getting back to where a point was. Because so many of today's diets, food plans, they're all restrictive in nature. And we keep feeling like we have to deny ourselves our favorite foods. And if we can't have them, our brain is saying, that's uncomfortable, that's painful. Here, have a donut, have a cookie. So our brains keep telling us to eat, Papa, eat. Because this makes you feel good. Because we've trained our brain that it feels good. To change that, I hope I'm not really going all over the place. I just feel like I'm so scattered. To change that, we need to change the way we look at food, at the healthier food choices. Instead of grumbling and complaining that you're eating a carrot instead of potato chips, we need to start looking at these healthier foods. I don't eat carrots, so let me change that to an apple. Instead of eating an apple, instead of potato chips, if I'm looking at the apple and saying, this really sucks having to eat an apple, I want the potato chips. I don't like apples, don't really want an apple, I want the potato chips. I've been eating potato chips all my life. And when we think about the healthier food with that type of attitude, is it's always a lesser choice than the healthier foods, our brain is going to remember that. And it's going to say, at the first opportunity, have some potato chips. Those make you happy. Apples don't make you happy. So as you're looking at your food choices, and you have a choice between something that's healthier and not healthier, build up in your mind the benefits, the sweetness, the taste, the texture of the food that's healthier. Train your brain to want that. Train your brain to say, oh, this is so efficient. Apples on the counter, potato chips on the counter. Definitely grab an apple. That's the efficient choice. But we have to train our brains to do that. Being mindful in situations. So 2 things today, because how long have I been on? Ooh, 24 minutes. Wow, have I even stopped to take a breath? Breathing is really wonderful when you're making your food choices. Have you thought about that? When you pause, anytime you pause, it takes your brain off of autopilot. Oh, that felt really good. Would you take a deep breath with me, please? Yeah. Taking our brain off of autopilot, one of the easiest ways to do that is to pause. If you're around food, pause. Ask yourself, am I hungry? Is eating this food a healthy choice? You may be reaching for an apple. If you're not hungry, you probably don't need that apple. It's still 80 to 100 calories, right? Focus on whether you're hungry. And if you eat when you know you're not hungry, ask yourself which is the healthier choice, the apple or the potato chips. Take that breath. Which will help me achieve what I want in life? Not just the numbers on the scale. We focus so much on the numbers on the scale, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers when people are talking about losing weight and they say, oh, I only lost a pound this week. Oh, scale didn't move any. Please, it's not about the number on the scale. It's not. It's about the life that you are living. And if you're not living the life that you want to live, that you are called here to live, that's worse than any number that's on the scale, because you're depriving yourself of the joy and the pleasure and the experience of living the life that you wanted. And why are you doing that? Because you told your brain that's what you wanted to do. You wanted the food over your life. You can stop it. I don't know if it's your time to stop it, but when you decide it's your time to stop it, you can. It's your choice. It's always, all of the food choices you have made from day one, from the first time that person walked into your cubicle and said, hey, so-and-so brought donuts and muffins. Why don't you come join us in the break room? In that moment, you made a choice. You made the choice to go there. You made the choice to eat that muffin or that donut. I am not suggesting that you start beating yourself up or blaming yourself for that. Please don't. That was a choice you made. It was no indication of who you are as an amazing individual. We all make choices that work for us and against us, and then some that just seem, neutral. Meh. Don't beat yourself up, but just know that when you're ready and you can frame what you're doing, your food choices, your eating situations in a way that supports what you feel called to do here on this earth, that's when you can make changes in what you're eating. Now, here's the other thing about break room situations with donuts and muffins. So you went there, whether it was for the donut and the muffin or the social interaction, because social interaction can be a huge thing, and in our country, everything is based around foods. If you win something, you celebrate with food. If you lose something, let's commiserate with food. Food is everywhere, and we need food to survive. Be aware. Start becoming aware of when you're eating throughout the day. It's that habit. When you're eating on autopilot, not paying attention to what you're eating or whether you're even hungry. That's what keeps us so overweight, in my opinion. Here's the thing. And I don't have it with me. So what you can do, all right, I'll share that in another live. I'll talk about it. If you find yourself, I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you to find one instance today when you reach for food without even thinking about it. It's not a conscious decision to say, I'm hungry, let me go see what I have for food. This could be, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, must be lunchtime. Let's go to the kitchen and get some food. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, you're watching TV. I think I'll have a snack. There are times during your day when you are eating on autopilot. Pick one, just one. And take a look at what you are going to eat. Whether you eat it or not is irrelevant, okay? Take a look at what you're eating, what you're reaching for, and take a look at what the calorie count is for that item. take a look at the calories, and then do a little bit of mental math, and I'm going to help you out here. If you eat something that's just 100 calories, and my example is a little tiny box of the dark chocolate yogurt covered raisins. It's 110 calories a box, I think. Just a little bitty box, no bigger than a deck of cards. One box of those is 110, 120 calories. That's the equivalent of 10 pounds of weight gain a year. Because that's what was happening to me. That was my donut muffin 9 o'clock break thing. It was a little box of raisins. 10 pounds a year. If I changed absolutely nothing else and just ate this little box of raisins, I would gain 10 pounds a year. The beautiful thing is, I was eating those mindlessly. I wasn't enjoying them, wasn't tasting them. I was just pouring them into my hand or sometimes straight out of the box. If we can catch these mindless, autopilot moments of eating, and it's 100 calories a day, without doing anything else, if you don't eat that food, you will lose 10 pounds over the course of a year. And you don't have to change anything else. You're not sending your brain into a panic spin of saying, oh my gosh, the sky is falling because suddenly she's not eating carbs, or no more ice cream at night. Oh, I love the ice cream at night. I take comfort in the ice cream at night. If you're eating a food and enjoying it, I encourage you not to worry about it at this point as you're starting, because we don't want to freak out our brains. We want our brains to start gently, slowly processing the idea that we'll make some changes around our food, but nothing too drastic, nothing to worry about, nothing that takes extra brain power from the back. Just now and again we'll make a slightly different choice. And the weight starts to come off without drastically changing your life, without making the focus food and denial and pain and resisting what we have to do in order to get to a healthier weight. Well, I'm sorry. I would rather be fat and happy than skinny and witchy. When you take a mindful approach to weight loss, when you start paying attention to how your brain is working for you or against you at times, and you start to work around it and you say, brain, I know we used to do it that way, but I'm just thinking, haven't made a decision yet, but I'm just thinking, maybe I want to try it differently. I know I have ice cream every night. It's good. I like ice cream. It's good. But I think tonight I'm just going to try a bowl of fruit instead. I'm just going to try it. I'm not saying I'll never have ice cream again, but I think I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to be adventurous. I'm just going to see what this feels like. And then when you have that bowl of fruit, really make a big deal out of it. Like when your children or your grandchildren are eating and they're eating something healthy and you say, oh, aren't you such a good boy or girl? Look at you. Many of us probably do that with our pets, right? Our cats and our dogs. Oh, you're such a good girl. That's how we want to treat our brain, because in many ways our brains are like, 5 or 6-year-old kids. They just want to be loved. They want to feel pleasure. They don't want boo-boos. They don't want to feel pain or discomfort. Now, discomfort. There are times that as you're losing weight, you will feel uncomfortable. Know that you can handle it. You are going to come out on the other side so much stronger, so much healthier, knowing that you're really making a choice instead of living and eating on autopilot. So how does the brain work around habits? First thing you do is you're in a situation and you have a choice to make. You make the healthier choice or the not so healthy choice. And then there's a consequence to that, how you're feeling, what you're thinking. And then there could be, the sugar rush or, other physical reactions to the food that you're eating. and your brain is paying attention to what you're thinking about yourself and about that food choice. And it's making note. And when you keep repeating that, every time you do the same thing, it's saying, all right, I remember that, remember that, remember that. Got it, I can be more efficient with this. And then you do that behavior without even thinking about it, whether it's healthier or not so healthy. So what we want to do is consciously, mindfully pause, think about what we really want to do in our lives, what we want to experience, how we want to feel about ourselves and about what we're doing. And we want to start making those healthier choices, and our brain will remember. And soon our brain will just, on autopilot, make the healthier choices. It's just a matter of reprogramming our brains. Alrighty. I think I haven't run out of things to say, to be totally honest, but I've been here for 35 minutes talking nonstop. I'm going to glance over. I feel so rude. But the way things are set up, because, well, all right, so we're going to do something a little uncomfortable here. Has nothing to do with food. But, when we're in our homes, we're trying to set things up in a way that, presents something of a decent setup. So I'm just going to spin. You don't get sick on me, okay? So this is what's further out into my basement room. Kitty litter box way in the back, chair storage area, And then over this way, is my computer desk. And look, you can almost see me on the computer. So my computer, as you can see, earthquake, is over here. So let me see. Alrighty, so I don't see any comments there, so I don't have to answer any questions. Thank you for being here, and if you watch the replay, thank you for sticking with me on this. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and be well. And today, find one thing that you're eating without even thinking about it. Oh, because that's the point I missed. Your brain isn't going to notice it, because it's not something your brain is really anticipating or looking forward to. Your brain is just going to say, oh, she made a different choice. We can lose weight without totally freaking out our brains, disrupting our lives. Just take small changes and paying attention to what we're doing. And that is mindfulness. Have an amazing day. Thank you for being here. If we're still on lockdown next week, I'll be back next Tuesday with another lesson. Okay? Have a great day. Bye.